Today, I want to talk to you about how to actually improve your interviewing performance. And I chose those words carefully because interviewing, the one thing about interviewing is you get hired because of your performance. If you're in the interview, what does the intervention book say? What do I say in the book? You're qualified. But the most qualified candidate rarely gets the job. It's the person who performs the best, story tells the best, articulates their fit and value. So I know I teach you many and in many lessons on how to tactically deliver better stories, be more crisp. But today I want to actually talk to you about your performance because I do think that this is yet another way that you can improve what it is that you're doing in an interview to score better. So I was strength training this morning, and you'll see the association here in a minute. And so just about an hour ago, this lesson pops into my head, and I actually couldn't wait to give it to you. So if you are not familiar with me, but for those of you that are, you know that I absolutely love running. I love triathlon, swimming, biking, strength training, the whole thing. I mean, I just love staying in shape. And I was working out this morning, and it popped into my head about how I generally prepare for these talks. And you may or may not know this, but every week when I come and I give you a lesson that I've advertised, or a webinar, or a workshop, or a group coaching session, or whatever it might be, I never actually practice the lesson ever. I don't actually go through it A to Z. I don't rehearse it. I don't practice that way. I use different techniques, and those different techniques are some things I want to share with you today because I think if you put these into your interview prep rotation, I think you will do much better. So when I do a lesson, I have the points I want to teach you, but what I really work on skills-wise day in and day out is I work on other things like my ability to focus. I practice focusing every day so that I can keep my attention. There's an outline and a structure that I always work on to make sure that I'm giving you certain points in a certain sequence. I want to make sure that is as effective as possible. I want to make sure I pick the right analogies, I draw the right associations, I help you avoid the mistakes, and all of these other things. I work on my empathetic skills. These are people who are showing up in the middle of the day on a Thursday because they need my help. They're going through some trouble either with their job or their career in general or whatever it might be. So I work on these other things. So as I was working out this morning and I was doing an exercise and I was standing on one leg, and it dawned on me that I really need to share this. So I told you I love running, and this may sound obvious or maybe not, but running is a one-legged sport. And anybody who runs, I think, gets that. Never at any moment in time are both of my feet on the ground, ever, which means that each leg needs to be equally strong. My balance needs to be in order. And while every week I work with my coach, and she and I run a lot, and she assembles the runs for me, and there's a long run, and there's some speed work, and there's a tempo run, and I run hills, and don't even worry about if you don't know what that is. But the point is, I work on all of these things to build my stamina and build my strength and build my balance and all that. But one thing I never do is I never actually run the race, not while I'm practicing, right? I don't run a 10K. I don't run a half marathon. I don't run an all-out marathon. I don't ever do that. We're working on different components. But where the real gold isn't even in the running. It's in the strength training. And because running's a one-legged sport, I do a lot of one-legged exercises. If you'd ever seen one of my strength workouts, you'd notice I'm on one leg a lot. And I'm not just talking about doing one-legged squats right on your legs. I'm talking about everything that I do. To do a bicep curl, while an overall meaningless exercise in general, other than how your arm looks, but to stand on one leg and do it and engage your glutes and your core and everything, and to make sure that you are in balance, really increases your ability to be better at running. Okay, so when I think about how I actually work on my delivery of the race, that's one thing. But when I work on my delivery of this performance of the presentations that I give you, you might be wondering, well, okay, if you don't practice the talk and you're not running the race, what is it that you're actually doing? And it's in the practice routines that I have for my performances that I want you to start integrating into your interviewing performances or your presentation performances or whatever it might be. So you might be wondering, well, what do you do? So last week, middle of the week, Later in the day, I had some time blocked out to review one of the live office hour shows I gave you. It was an hour and a half show, except I took this 15-minute segment of the show itself. I took that 15-minute segment. It was the hardest segment to actually deliver. It was the most important segment, and I watched it 8 or 9 times. You might be wondering, well, how on earth could you be watching it 8 or 9 times? What do you do? So the first time I watched it, I knew what the segment was. I wanted to review it. It had been a number of weeks since I delivered this. It had been a couple of months since I delivered this, and I wanted to look back at it. So I watched the 15-minute segment, and I just watch it. I take it in. I look to see what I'm sharing. I watch the chat. I do it more for entertainment of my own self purposes, and I'm looking at, do I seem engaging? How am I delivering this? Is the chat moving? Is the chat silent? Are they listening to me? Is the chat chatty, meaning they're bored with me? Or are they telling me they're tracking, or what's actually happening? And I watch it again. Next time I watch it, if I didn't know what I know, did I give them the right steps? Did I drop the bombs in the right place? Was my speed right? Was my cadence right? Did I slow down when I wanted to? Should I have sped up? Did I hit the points? Oh, wait, I missed the point. Oh, wait, I recovered it later. Next time I do that, I don't want to do that. I want the point to be made here, not there, right? I watch it again. I'm looking at what am I doing? How am I delivering this? So then it gets into the real work. So about the 5th time through, what I do is I don't watch the video. I just listen to the audio. And then I'm trying to pay attention to the cadence. Did I hit the right notes? Did I go up when I wanted? Did I go down when I wanted? Did I make sure I let it sink in? Did I engage them, and so on? Do I like the way I sound? Next time through, I turn the volume off. Now, I'm actually sitting here in this chair, the one that's Rocket is laying nearby. And I'm sitting there. I got my iPad on that table, and I'm looking at the screen. I got the tea or whatever I had in hand. My wife's in the kitchen. She's looking. I thought she wanted to come in and talk. She says, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm watching a video." And she saw I don't have any earbuds in. I don't know. She's watching a video. There's no sound. I'm like, I know. I'm watching me from one of my live office hour shows. I want to know if what I'm saying looks like the mannerisms are in sync. Did I use the hand gestures I wanted to? Does everything look congruent? Because the consistency between what you're saying and your mannerisms matter. So now I'm looking at, if I'm watching me, is this a person I'd want to listen to? Is this a person I would believe? Right? Are the facial expressions consistent with what I'm actually saying? And I'm looking through it. And then I watch it again and again. I do all that work to wring out this much improvement in my performance for you. So why am I sharing all this with you, and how does this apply to you? Well, a lot of you, what you do is you try to run the race with the interviews. That's bad. You write out your answers, you try to memorize them. That's really, really bad. Not only do you sound robotic if you can actually remember them, but for most of you, even if you write them out, you absolutely cannot remember them, all under duress, not to mention how hard it is to stuff all that information in your head. And it's like you're studying for an exam in school, but without truly understanding the rationale, reasoning, and all the associations and all the other stuff that go along with your performance. So, what can you do to maybe steal some tips and techniques that I do week in and week out, day in and day out? Well, first thing is, get yourself a power story. If you don't know what a power story is, that's Andy speak for what's your bread and butter story that is virtually either exactly like or your best illustration of how you're going to help them achieve their goals. If you're a project manager, what's the project that you manage that's most analogous with what they need? Think about that story. Step 1. Step 2, structure it out, just notes. Now, notes, don't write it all out, notes. Take Coach's CAR technique, CAAR. If you don't know what that is, there's I don't know, about a dozen videos on my YouTube channel in my interview playlist that you can check out to understand how to package. That's the outline I want to give you understanding conceptually that you need to start in this spot and then go to this spot and then go this way and then go that way. That's what I want you practicing and getting comfortable with. That's the second thing. Third thing is the story itself that you're going to tell is only 3 to 5 minutes, right? So you don't have an awful long amount of, or not a lot of time to actually say it. You turn the Zoom on, deliver your story. Don't stop. Try to concentrate, try to focus, all that good stuff, and deliver it. Next thing, watch it. Next step, I don't know, step 4, watch it and just see. Just look at yourself. See how you sound. Does it make sense? Did you hit the right notes? Pun intended, right? How did you look? How did you sound? Sweep through. It's only 3 to 5 minutes. Go back through it. Turn the video off. Or turn the screen around. Turn yourself around, whatever. Just listen. Do you sound like somebody you'd want to hire? Do you sound like somebody that's engaging? Do you sound like somebody that's totally confident in what you're delivering? Next sweep, turn the audio off. What do you look like? Doesn't matter if you're going in for an in-person one-to-one interview session, or if you're going into a group panel session, or if you're doing a video session, or if you're doing a phone session. You can run through these techniques to evaluate your performance. Take some notes. What do you need to change? And it will be amazing how much you'll be able to glean through those couple, 3, 4 sweeps that you might want to go through to watch yourself. These techniques are going to help you improve your performance. So if you really, really want to improve your interview and performance, start doing some one-legged exercises. That's what these are, people, one-legged exercises. All right, I hope that helps you. Hope that was fun for you, as much as it was for me popping in my head when I was doing my one-legged bicep curls this morning, among other exercises. But I'm always looking for ways to try to get you to look at what you're doing from a different angle. How can I get better? I think those, that 4 or 5 step technique right there will help you. Cool?